Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, a best of 9 between two of the most storied players in StarCraft 2 history. Two champions, and two that you hate love to watch for so many reasons. Let me first introduce the villain of StarCraft, the man who cares more about winning than anything else, and he doesn't care who he beats or how he comes about it. You have to respect him, even if you don't want to imitate him. It's Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Rogue. If you want to know how to win as Zerg, not just play, you want to learn how to play, you want to say, you want to learn how to win, that's what Rogue is here for. On the other side, though, almost a polar opposite sort of player. I say you hate to watch it because sometimes he is so stylistic, he's so heartstrong. He has such a clear and present personality that it actually ends up backfiring, especially against someone like his opponent. But it's always fun to watch. There's a lot to talk about, so without any further ado, I give you ByuN. Shopify Rebellion, his team right now, alongside good company like Scarlett and Rain. Is it Rain? No, I don't want to credit the wrong. I gotta at least Scarlett. So there you go. A very similar sort of player in that sense. Now we talk about what's happening. Was this a command center first? A double gas behind it? I believe it was a CC first, and then a barracks, and then two gas from ByuN. TVZ right now is relatively stable, but there are still people innovating. ByuN here, command center first isn't necessarily a greedy build. It's partially a pool defense build, because that way you have the command center done by the time early Zerglings could come across. I will say, as Rogue has no intention, Rogue is taking the safest possible path with his Ovies. He's not even sending one to the natural. He's sending one all the way along the side. This one, I assume, scouted for Proxy Rex. It is a best of 9. This is the AlphaX Super Series, and only super great players like me. Okay. ByuN and Rogue are invited to these epic matches with money, of course, on the line, as well as pride. We're going to see all the maps and maybe some twice as well. I would like maybe throwing in another one, but the thing is, if players are not playing the maps on the ladder or for other tournaments, they'll probably just cheese each other on a different map, which would be fun to watch. Like and subscribe, and what maps would you love to see? The newest TLMC winner, the Team Liquid Map Contest, Waterfall, is pretty generic, but I would love to see these two on it. Of course, they already played a little, but bring back Battle on the Boardwalk. Well, maybe not. Maybe not that. But Red Shift. Okay, maybe. Anyways, they are both starting out about as macro-oriented as possible, though I am keeping an eye on ByuN's build. I've noticed ByuN lately, he's been doing everything he can to, well, this is still an original build. He's been doing everything he can to kind of buck the meta, such as it is. He's his own Terran. Always has been. He's found a circuitous route to going Hellion Banshee, a very Wings of Liberty style. And he's adding an armory, which is for Hellbats, more than likely. I am not a huge fan of Hellbats. In fact, I advocate for the removal of Hellbats as a buff to Terran, because Terran players doing Hellbat pushes, except for maybe Cure, who brings SCVs, always make me shake my head and stomp my feet and wag my finger and say, "You damn kids, don't, back in the day we didn't even have Hellbats. Alright, and we got along just fine. Well, Grandpa, Queens had 3 range. No, they could fly. Okay, Grandpa, I know." And of course, I mean as an opener, as opposed to part of a mech composition, to be clear. Well, here come the Hellbats. Banshee flying in. There is a Spore. Enough Hellbats that Rogue does have to respect it. The Queen's starting to burn up, but there's the Transfuse. The Banshee is hold position where it can... Okay, well... Rogue is sitting on 51 drones, so he doesn't have a huge lead, and he can't afford to lose too many. The Queens are just going to try to fight the Hellbats heads up. The Cloak Banshee flies into a Spore Crawler, which is not the ideal use of a Cloak Banshee. Rogue... Well, this did not... Well, that went about as well as any Hellbat attack I've seen in the last 3 years. And by that I mean very poorly. Oh, yeah, you knew that Spore was there, ByuN. Or maybe he didn't, which would be even more depressing. Yeah, so... Now Rogue has total map control. ByuN, his production is significantly delayed because going for the Armory and Cloak slows down a lot, both in terms of add-ons and gas and production. So the third command center is just finishing. Rogue now gets full map control. He's got a Spire on the way, so Mutas are what he's fallen back on, and I think this is actually the ideal scenario. The reason you don't usually see Mutalisks very often in this matchup is the Terran can put on enough pressure early that the Mutas are not able to get any damage done on their side of the map. They're not great fighting units, but they're incredibly annoying, as many of you know or pretend to know from the games you played half a decade ago. But despite all this, ByuN does come together. He's kept the Hellions intact, and they will be part of this push. And without Baneling speed, it's going to be quite difficult to deal with it. The Hellbats buffering for the Marines. A lot of Banelings. Without the Baneling speed, though, they don't have really the HP or the ability to close the distance. Baneling speed providing that +5. Rogue only had 68 drones. He actually lost 5 here, and ByuN picks up, and he goes to the main. The Queen Moot will convene and deal with the rest. ByuN, unfortunately... gonna have a tough time escaping from this base. Loses a Medivac. Alright, so far we're off to a very ByuN start to this series. Which is a ill-fated Hellbat push into a questionable pickup into the main, into now being down 20 supply. And having almost no map control. Rogue can't find enough Zerglings in order to put damage on the third quite yet. He was pressuring it earlier. He didn't get too many SCVs, as evidenced by the fact ByuN's actually ahead by 5. The Queen count, he's got an even 10 right now, but the Mutas are on the field. And that is another dimension of danger. The Banshee, wow, gets a couple more, but with the Mutalisks, ByuN is going to have some very hard decisions to make. I don't think he's seen the... Oh, he has seen the Spire. So I don't know how much that will change what his response is. There are no... He did technically see the Spire, but there are no turrets and no units in the main. The Mutas, uncontested. Drilling Claws is on the way for Widow Mines, but SCV's already being gutted. 8 of them, 9 of them so far, and the Muta's untouched. And you'd never want to be chasing them. That every second these Mutas by, let alone killing SCVs. He's just dragged most of ByuN's army into the main. He's keeping it pinned there. There's a single drop out on the map. Rogue is just dragging ByuN around in circles. He's now got 88 drones, which is full 4 base saturation. Not 3, 4, which is kind of an insane amount of income, as evidenced here. The only thing keeping ByuN even closer are a few mules. The Queens. Brenda, get out of the way! How many down in front? Oh my god! And well, the Medivac is driven away. 5 more SCVs go down. And we're lining up for... Well, Rogue doesn't need to wait for ByuN to come to him now. He's maxed out. Does he have an infestation pit? He does not. I wouldn't be surprised to see one added on soon. He doesn't seem like the type of person who's going to rely entirely on mutiling bling. I love what he's done. 17 mutas, and he's kind of, well, he can't build anymore. But 17 mutas is enough to easily deal with medevacs. It's enough to one-shot Widowmines, especially with the +1 flyer attack. But it isn't so many that it's a liability. It's enough mutas to shut down any access to the map for ByuN without making his main unit something that dies in a couple Widowmine hits. Zerglings and Banelings will fill in the rest. Still no infestation pit, but Burrow is on the way. There's the infestation pit as Rogue 92 drones. ByuN's at 70 SCVs. He's rebuilt and resigned himself to chilling in the base for a while. The mutas are dancing, adamant about getting that depot. The army moving out for what it's worth here. Queens tapping on him. One queen down. Mutas flying through. Eat a couple mine hits, though. Oh, that is... And Rogue was 1 or 2 mine hits away from figuring out why mutas are not the most reliable unit in Legacy of the Void. Well, here comes the wraparound. The mutas will collapse, but ByuN gets up and he gets out for now. The mutas could chase this down, but they are bruised from the mines earlier, and this is about the best it's going to get. ByuN chose his timing well. He bruised the mutas and used that to carve some space onto the map. There is a Thor over here. The pickup splits the medevacs, and meanwhile, Stimming and Terran through another base. All right, ByuN. He's making moves on the map right now. He's dragging Rogue back. 11 more mutas on the way. The thing is, Rogue still has plenty of economy. He can rebuild easily. And there is no later game advantage for ByuN. He has to take a fight and get in between some of the key hatcheries. The outlying I mean, it's a win. It's a win for ByuN, but it isn't enough to win the war. 3+3 attack will start. ByuN does secure a 4th, by the way. Just with all this offense, he's kept Rogue off it. But now there's going to be a few dozen more Banelings. The Queen's moving up for the creep. Gun down. A little bit of bureaucratic mismanagement there. Changelings over. Rogue sending the Lings and Mutas to the top left. Is he just going to go straight for the production? There's not enough here to defend. Most of ByuN's army is out on the map. There's not enough army supply on this side to deal with this. Does ByuN come back? He's already halfway there. There's not going to be much to come back to. The engineering bays are vulnerable. He's on the production. ByuN decided he would come back. The engineering bay denied. And a second one. The armor as well. Rogue, it'll cost him a few mutas and a handful of Zerglings, which he can already replace. ByuN doesn't lose much army supply, but he doesn't have the infrastructure to really fall back. He builds the engineering bays in the same spot again. They get killed again, but at least they aren't halfway through an upgrade. Banelings rolling in. ByuN gonna leave the Marauders. They sacrifice themselves for the greater good, and the greatest good they could possibly have. More SCVs down. A surprising amount of drones. There are still Widow Mines out in the field. An Ultralisk. Oh no, my god. Huge Widow Mine hits. The mutas softened up a lot of Lings and Banes. Some Lings managed to burrow in the main. ByuN still scrambling. His army supply is still larger than Rogue can even build. The worker count, though, is dipping. Eventually, that'll come back to haunt him. And then, if it goes on long enough, it won't. Lings in the main. I think ByuN had his suspicions, and he already had units near the main for the mutas. Instead of building Ultralisk now, one of the few times maybe Ultralisk could make the difference, especially since they use the melee attack and carapace upgrades. More mutas for Rogue. But he's still, like, I keep acting like Rogue is about to win, and he's one good fight away from winning, but ByuN is not losing battles. He's just losing bases. Oh, the SCVs. Widow Mines burrow. Looking for a connection. Won't find it. The production gonna be camped here. So many banelings. The splits are incredible from ByuN. Another Widowmine hit. Like, can he keep this up? He's on creep here. He may just have to pick up into the medevacs. The target fire off a creep. Great splits again. The Thor, though. What a save! He keeps it together. No HP, but still full damage for now. One Muta for 1 second could deal with that. The Zergling saves it again. Looking at the back. The Widowmines are recharging. There's no detection here. Widowmine's looking for a connection. Surprising or hits from the side. Marines! It's not over yet. It's not over yet. ByuN stimming through. He's on the edge of disaster, but the cusp of victory. The Marines in the orange and yellow gunning down even more drones. How is he still going? Widowmines are the answer. Another Widowmine hit. But the medevacs are out of energy. The Marines are out of HP to stim away. And it looks so great. And now ByuN is down 75 supply. He drove nearly to the heart of the swarm. But he could not escape. As always, making it interesting. ByuN had no right to even threaten to win that game. Of course, Mutas are not the most reliable of units. A couple Widowmines definitely make things difficult, but overall, we're in for a good series. I think if ByuN opens up with something that isn't meaty, like, I gotta go back to the Hellbats. It might be just, it's my white whale, all right? But Hellbats and Hellbat attacks are not good. I will die on this hill. And when the Hellbats eventually waddle up and reach me, I will tell them that. Jimmy, the game. We got 9 games. What do you mean, technically it could be 5? Yeah, but I doubt it. I know it's Rogue. Oh my god. Now, like, a lot of people argue, but Winter, aren't Hellbats good against Queens or Zerglings? To which I remind you that Widowmines come out of the same building. And one of those units seemed to be more effective in the previous match. Rogue honestly was not respecting them. I think Rogue, like, if you truly want to deal with the mines and Marines, you need Lurkers. Lurkers with range. Ultras, if they don't have ghosts, Ultras can work. But they are a big, expensive, thick pile of dangerous, but also easily distracted meat. And while they may have a lot in common with your mother, they cost even more supply. So Ultras are kind of your closer, whereas Lurkers are what hold the line. Did ByuN go for the CC first again? Like, every time I watch ByuN in TVC, he's got a new build. I don't necessarily think... He tries something new. Sometimes he just doesn't even build Hellions, but this is definitely... CC first is something you throw in. It's not the build. But then again, I remember... I don't know who he was playing against. Who cares, right? But there was the one series where he decided that concussive shell marauders against Protoss were back. Which for like one game, they looked like maybe. By the third game, they looked like no. But that is just how ByuN do. When you've been the world champion, even these high-profile show matches are good for testing your builds. I mean, you're not going to get a better chance, especially before like GSL or major tournaments like IEM or DreamHack. So, or maybe ByuN just likes the build. Like maybe there's no thought to it, but I like doing this, and I wouldn't be surprised. It's not like Zest, which is, oh, I guess this is the bit. Yes, we got. It took a whole two. This series has been so good in one game so far. It took me until game 2 to talk about Zest. So that's how you know it's a good series. Settle in. That might be a record. We got Hellions. We got a starport. Things you should not... Wait, is it... It's looking... Yeah, it's Viking and Stim. Okay. So he's... You know, last game, the Cloaked Banshee flying in... Multiple Cloaked Banshees flying into Spore Crawlers. While eventually they did some damage, it does feel like the Cloaked Banshees definitely did not pay for themselves. And while having Banshees is good, it's a good anti-all-in, because there's really nothing that can contest the Banshees on the Terran side of the map. It does slow down both in gas and just production, because a lot of the times you do want to build more racks earlier, upgrades earlier. Spending 200, 300 gas on Banshees does not help that very much at all. Yeah, this is the more bare bones starport action here. We got a Viking and then a Liberator. A nice, safe, no tech lab required choice. Looks like we're going to get the reactor explosion, slap down some more racks, and work on that marine count. Double Evo chamber for Rogue, well before a lair. So he's going to be focused. He's just going to run by. ByuN going to go. The queens close in for the ritual sacrifice of Hellions. And ByuN, in all his wisdom, says, I bet you're not going to stick around. Wait, is that a wall? ByuN. Oh, just the tip. Meanwhile, he actually dragged the queens away, and the Viking now has 2 kills. He managed to snap up an Overlord while the queens were distracted. Unfortunately, the Liberator are going to have some more trouble. Yeah, he sieges up the corner. More as a timeout for the Liberator as opposed to wanting to besiege the populace below. But, I mean, por qué no los dos? It keeps the Liberator from either select all army or accidentally bouncing into queens or spores, whatever. It's not a bad habit to be in. Yeah, this medevac timing is looking a lot sharper for ByuN. I mean, he didn't go for the Banshees or the Hellbats. He went right to medevacs with 1-1, combat shield. He's going to have a lot more ability to exert pressure on the map with his favorite units, the ones that start with M. Armory is on time for the upgrades, and I think Rogue is going to have to respect this, but his Baneling nest is late. 1, he won't have Banelings in general, and 2, it's not even lined up with his lair, so he won't have Baneling speed as quickly as he could. It's not too far out, he's building 3 hatches. He finishes a macro hatch in his main. He's got another hatch at the 8 o'clock, 8:15 base. He's got a hatch at the triangle 4th. So he's got a lot in production right now. He's got a lot in the oven. But he's not done cooking. That sounded profound. And he's also got a lot of Zerglings, though, so he's going to be able to keep the Marines from getting too close. The thing is, ByuN doesn't need to do damage here. This is not the previous match. Rogue does not have an overwhelming economy, though he will have... Yeah, you can expect a significant number of Zerglings. Even more than last game. 1-1 is done. For who? Yes. +2/+2 starts for ByuN. That's a lot of... Get out of there! No, This SCV! You traitor! The SCV didn't move fast enough and the Zerglings get in. But actually, ByuN's kind of cleaning this up. Okay, wait a second. This wasn't so... Oh, yeah, Hellbats. Now that the armory was finished in a timely manner, that is a natural progression into armory. ByuN, stutter step, gets out. 14 SCV is down, but kills... What? 76 Zerglings. And it's not going to end there. The Banelings don't have speed. He's going to have to cancel. Doesn't cancel the CC. Gotta get out. Thankfully, he didn't wall himself off, though, of course, you can lower the depots, as the other SCVs know. Well, that was, on paper, it looked bad for ByuN. But actually, though, Banelings that attack, like the ones that attack that depot, don't show up on units lost, so it's a little misleading here. I think that wasn't bad at all. He didn't lose that many SCVs, and Rogue lost so many Zerglings. So much of that larva, which he's desperate. He's got 2 macro hatches, and he still can't build enough Zerglings. ByuN is coming across. The army supply about even. He's got 2-2 quicker. He's in a good spot to keep this pressure on. The Hellbats can tank a bit for the Marines. The Widowmine's going to connect with the Queens. Transfuse isn't going to save you now. More Widowmines. Finding a connection. Banelings rolling through. The Marines stand their ground. A handful of Zerglings into the third on the other side. ByuN, the Marines paying for themselves several times over, slurps up and gets out for now. Rogue holds the line. ByuN loses a few more SCVs at home. The counterattack looking good. 2-2's not done. Slips in behind the minerals. Widowmine burrows. Baneling speed completed, and that's a real danger to the SCVs. 7, 11. No. 13, before I could even make a joke about it. 2-2 finishing for ByuN. Hive on the way for Rogue with, what, 6 hatcheries? 7 hatcheries in total with the lair. ByuN picks up. His army supply is good, but Rogue is starting to outgrow him. He held, and that counterattack there did some real damage. That was economy that ByuN could not immediately replace, unlike the first attack. And with it, ByuN now has hard choices to make. I think we know what choices he will make, but they're still hard ones. Marines, medevacs, mines, to the main. Not yet. But Rogue, immediately upon getting a little space, 90 drones. Right now he's mono-battling. Lings and Lings. That is the army composition. The Marine count is too high, though. Standing their ground, some Banelings connect. ByuN picks up. And he heads in the general vicinity of the main, still threatening in this position. Meanwhile, in the bottom left, you need Banelings. You require Banelings until the medevacs run out of energy, in which case you're fine. ByuN picks up. And he lands right back at the fourth, but continuing to threaten the main. The Banelings coming in, he picks up. But unfortunately, Rogue's already there. He blocks him at every turn. We're at 240 Lings lost, and I bet a lot more Banelings than the counter shows. Missing in action. Down goes the base, no cancel, not a huge deal at this stage. Widowmine finds a connection. A pretty juicy one at that. Liberators on the field. Rogue not able to max out. He's producing probably 70 larvae a minute, and it's not enough. Zerglings into the third, though. ByuN cannot afford SCV losses at this stage. His economy is precarious at best. Mules and a similar worker count are all he can really do. If he drops under 60, he's starting to be significantly far behind. This is not a planetary. 3 medevacs pinned. One of them is full. Widowmines in the bushes. Trying to take advantage of that lack of vision, though it doesn't really matter if there's an overseer there. Hydralisk on the way. Rogue has made the call. He said Lings and Banes are probably not going to cut it. We got to bring in a little bit of a heavier unit, though no lurker done yet. Finally, the boys do not turn traitor this time. A Widowmine saves the day at the cost of itself, and also enough Banelings left over in order to do damage to the SCVs. ByuN holds for now. Still a medevac on the other side. +3/+3 is done. Rogue only started +3 carapace. So ByuN for now will have an upgrade advantage and no adrenal glands. Means, like, Rogue. Where's the adrenal glands? Those Zerglings, they might not get much opportunity to attack, but every upgrade is important. It's not like he doesn't have the money. Liberator pre-sieging a base that just finished. The Hydra's looking to respond. Widowmine is negated. Lings and Banes heading for the 4th, and there's nothing to stop them but the planetary itself. The Lings are actually body blocking out the Banelings, but they eventually connect with the planetary. Widowmines all over the place. That's just a whole lot of Marines. The Widowmines catch them on the way out. Rogue actually down to 170 supply, and that's after 16 SCVs go down. They're about evened up. Another wave of Banelings. He has the medevac picks up. It's a precarious situation for ByuN. Oh my god. Meanwhile, a drop on another hatch to the north. ByuN stretching Rogue to the limit. But Rogue is still holding strong. He's got muscular augments, +3 armor on the way. Finishing up now. Still no adrenal glands. There's been enough pressure that he hasn't noticed. It is a hard upgrade to tell if you have or not. Meanwhile, it's just Marines. It's just medevacs and Marines. I could have said it's just ByuN, but can we real quick check those numbers? Well, when you have those sort of buffs. He's got a few Liberators mixed in, but they're mostly for harassing the drones where the army is not. Still trying to deal with this. Lurker range is on the way. Yeah, the Liberators are not actually part of the army. The Lings were chasing down a Liberator. He probably just caught a glimpse on the minimap, thought it was a medevac. And most times it is. This army, does he have the numbers to actually fight as Rogue collapses from all sides? ByuN picks up and evacuates. Another huge set of Widowmine hits. Gonna make things difficult. Somehow ByuN has another army. He's gonna try to hold his ground. Beautiful splits. Pretty textbook. He picks up with the rest. It's only gonna get so good on the creep, though. Eventually, the Banes start connecting. There are no lurkers on the field. Rogue willing to go Ling Lisk up against him for now. As soon as lurkers hit the field, they're going to have upgrades. I'm surprised we don't see any in production yet, and so is Rogue, so he had 6. He's got adaptive talents, +3 melee, adrenal glands. Those are the upgrades of disaster. If those all complete and Rogue is still at a similar position, ByuN cannot compete with that. No amount of Marine splits and micro, despite his best and incredibly headstrong efforts. No amount is going to solve this. You cannot beat ranged lurkers with units that start with M. You can't do it. You cannot. Okay. I was hoping he would prove me wrong, but Rogue locks it down. Not this time. ByuN. So fun to watch. Unfortunately, though, eventually Rogue says fun time is over. I'd rather win. That's 2. A, decisive but not particularly surprising start to this best of 9. Will ByuN? Oh no. Just one? This is where we zoom in on a shot of ByuN in GSL. Alright, Jimmy! No, that's not one job! And then go back and see 2 barracks on the map. Always my favorite part is how you get into the game. It's always great to place bets. You can do it now. Starting with next game. I will wait until at least 30 seconds. I'll say, Jimmy, hold off 30 seconds so we can get the dramatic reveal of 2 barracks in the middle of the map. Which is... He is shift queuing onto the other Rex. I wonder if that does anything. Or if he's... I wonder if that makes the SCV... If ByuN has solved SCV pathing, because sometimes the SCV ends up in an awkward position when it finishes a building, right? I don't think shift queuing necessarily solves that. It doesn't. Yeah, I think we would have figured that one out a while ago. Trapped in a prison of his own design. He's not even gonna lift it. Well, this is a little awkward, because you do want the SCVs to... yeah, there you go. Oh, sit back down. I mean, that's just the way it be sometimes. Rogue, He has the Overlord. He was watching. He didn't even scout for the Rex. He was just scouting to see if anything came in. He pulls the drones. Everything. He's gambling that this is a 2 Rex. If there are more than 2 Rex, this could be disaster because there's just too many Marines. I think he's decided based on the SCVs and the timing. ByuN's Marine Micro, second to probably none. 3 drones so far. Zerglings are out at the bunker! The bunker finishes! Can he get the Marines actually in it? The drone's trying to body block. The SCV, like, the drones get the surround. Mineral walking through to the other side of the map. There's a queen. Like, the bunker is still there. The Marines, that gives him vision on the high ground, which is a pretty big deal. The queen gonna help. Get off my lawn! You cheesy, what year is it? Well, we'll salvage the bunker. So, this was not all in. This was a macro cheese. Bit of a macaroni cheese build. It definitely puts the game... Oh, well, every Marine very much counts here when you have a grand total of 2 army units. He's going to gamble that he can get away with expanding before any other units are built. And I think he'll get away with it because Rogue did not... Like, he pulled the drones. He dealt with it head on. Which does seem like it was the right call. It wasn't free. He did lose a whole lot of mining time. And he lost several drones as well. 3 drones. I think he dealt with it about as well as you ever could, though. He shut it down before it really got started. It doesn't mean ByuN's out of it at all, because Rogue did cut any counterattack potential for it. There's no speed, there's no chance of roaches. I mean, I guess there's a small chance of roaches, but ByuN is pretty safely gambling that Rogue is just going to macro it out. And that is the high percentage play here. Oh my god, every gold leaguer feeling justified now. ByuN just drops a scan to kill an Ovi, which... For someone who has 1 orbital because they proxy... That's a big commitment. Well, we'll see. The medevac is not spotted. ByuN on the perfect pathing to avoid the tower. Rogues. Okay, now he sees it. Zergling speed isn't done. How many queens are there? Only 3. He's not gonna just drop it, right? Yeah. He has to... I thought he might try to drop the natural. ByuN just picking up pretty much whatever he has and going. And that is how ByuN do. I think Rogue is misjudging. He thinks it's Hellbats again. He's getting a Baneling Nest so early. Yeah, he's pretty sure it's Hellbats. It's, for once, not. It's actually just the four Hellions and a medevac. I mean, a Baneling Nest has a lot of value in general. Oh, you're going to need to wall that thing off here. The Zerglings are like, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to go for the S. Well, who's flanking who is the question at this stage. Here come the Hellions, which really do change the equation. He does reveal the Liberator, which is not ideal, but... So yeah, Rogue just loses all his lings. Yeah, that door was not a... That was an invitation, not a mistake. Well, it was a mistake, and then it was an invitation, because that's just how ByuN plays. So Rogue, his lair is far off. He has a weird amount of... Well, he doesn't actually really have any wings. He just built another group of them. This has definitely thrown Rogue off. Like, ByuN is kind of just flailing at him right now, and Rogue doesn't really know what's coming next. Like, what is this attack? He's got 1 tank, 4 Hellions, he's got Stim, and a Liberator. Which, like, what is this, a diversity quota? Is that a college admissions poster? Or is this a Terran army? I'm not... He's gonna scan, he kills a creep, and right now, Rogue is kind of like... Do I fight? Yeah, Rogue is definitely off balance here, though still very much a threat with a good economy. He's relying... Brenda! God! The Spore body block the Queens. And this actually moves everything out of position so that the Marines come back in and shut down the creep. In fact, ByuN is holding Rogue's creep back at relatively the closest to his base, closest to Rogue's base that it's been this whole series. It's working. Like, this fast and loose kind of drunken brawler style that ByuN is playing this game, I think, is definitely better suited to him. I guess the stand-up Marine tank 3 base, while he's still good at it, ByuN's strength is improvisation, I think. And there's only so much room for improvisation with maxed out armies. Well, here's another army. Nope. Bane speed finally, it does finish up, but this is kind of an awkward positioning. The tank's left intact. Whoa, the Baneling count is non-existent. He drops the Marines back down. There's only Zerglings. The tanks go down, but there's still plenty of Marines. Look at the supply. Somehow, ByuN loses all his tanks and wins the fight. Rogue thought he was getting away with a win, but again, it was a loss in disguise. Meanwhile, Marines on the right flank as well. Tank siege is up. It's only Queens. Not enough. +1's done. Picks up before the Banes connect. Another attack. More Queens down. Liberator covering the siege tank. The Lings between a rock and a hard place here. They're going to try to maneuver around the tank, which is awkwardly placed and may eventually go down. He drops in the main. More drones down. Lings scrambling. Rogue taps out. ByuN takes game 3. Well, never let him breathe. None of the attacks were really doing anything right up until all of them were. But ByuN just essentially spun him around in circles. And Rogue, when let go, toppled over. That's what it felt like there. What a ByuN game. Well, so the Macaroni and Cheese 2 Rex coming out ahead. Place your bets. Jimmy? No. No SCVs. So far, 100% win rate for Proxy Rex. I mean, yada yada yada, but... This time, it is not a command center first. It's a gas first, which is relatively rare. There was a time when gas first Hellions with a command center was the go-to. It's kind of been phased out in favor of getting a Marine after the first Reaper to be able to deny Overlords. But ByuN, I think, is intending... Will he get a second guess? I don't think so. But I think he's intending on really quick Hellions. There's also a small chance... I'm going to whisper it so we don't jinx it. A small chance of battlecruiser. Small. But that is something we haven't quite seen yet. That's definitely, like, it's still a good build. The macro cruiser builds. it just isn't something you can rely on every game. It keeps the Zerg honest, those flying laser bathtubs. Though, is kind of a putting all your Vespene gas in one basket situation. Alright, ByuN. I mean, Rogue has shown no intent of any early game cheats. I think this is because we've seen what happens if Rogue gets to the mid-game. Even game 1, where he kind of fumbled with the mutas a little, he just shuts it down and he overwhelms ByuN. Like, he is confident in the later game. His macro, like 5, 6 extra hatcheries, why not? There's no reason to risk that advantage on the early game. At least that's the calculation so far. I think if we do see a Roach all-in, that's actually a bit of a panic button from Rogue. That's my prediction. Oh, you see, more people need to do this. Like, why does the creep tumor have to be exactly at the front? Like, just get it started. It's not a huge deal. Like, don't risk it, because if it gets sniped or delayed by like 15 seconds, it defeats the whole purpose anyways. Rogue just, like, we have tumors at home. It's a good thing for Zergs. It's weird out of context. He's got 2 gases. Oh. No! No! Cloak of Banshees. Aw. The boring older cousin of battlecruisers. I mean, similar role, but less expensive, though with somewhat less opportunity. It doesn't set you back as far as the battlecruiser, obviously, but it's not as fun. ByuN does not want to delay his Marines and medevacs any more than he needs to, alright? So, focusing the Spore. So, the Overlord comes in. It scouts the cloak. Does he cancel it? No, he's committed. He's going Cloak Banshee. Like, we're gonna get some intense deja vu here, I feel. It looks like Rogue is setting up. Both in the map positions and the build. The only difference here is this wasn't a command center first. This was quicker Hellions via the gas first. And actually gets in a little bit before the Spores. Rogue should have remembered Spore 20. Actually, I think he built them at Spore 20. Everybody knows Spore 20 is the best time to build Spore Crawlers if you don't know exactly what your opponent is doing. If you do know what they're doing, well then, figure that one out. Like, you do some basic math. But if you don't... Alright, double upgrades across the board. Double Banshee. Double Barracks. And a Spore Crawler right down the center. It's annoying. You gotta stay within the detection range here. Rogue, wow! 60-something. We're at 5.5 minutes. He's at 60 drones and counting. And the only reason the drone count is so low is because he had to build all these Spores. I love Rogue's willingness. He hasn't done it yet this game, but I love Rogue's willingness to take macro hatches as well. I think, like, sometimes Larva Inject doesn't cut it, even if you're perfect on Larva Inject. And you never miss one. Sometimes it's just not enough, especially when you're building this many drones. Yeah, there's a macro hatch. Even before the... He knows where he knows what he's about. He's going to get enough drones to justify it. Give me 2. Give me another one. Okay, you don't need 2. Not until you get like 90 drones. But I do like that. Like, Rogue is doing what he needs to do in order to make this build work. I gotta say, ByuN is one of those players like, I need ghosts. Psh, Hold my Marines, bro. No, you do need ghosts sometimes, though, ByuN. I know you know that. Stop pretending you don't know that. Where are the medevacs? Oh, no. Hold my Marines, bro. Unfortunately, there was nothing there to hold them. Wow, that was just a big mistake. Yeah, those Marines were abandoned. I have no idea where the medevacs went, but it wasn't there. That was just a mistake. Well, that's not a great start. Rogue's like, oh, okay, 90 drones it is. Like, the killing of those Marines. Yep, another hatch, more drones. Start that 2-2, Rogue. Thank you. 3, 2, 1, 2. Can I get a third macro hatch, though? Just for me, Rogue. All right, I'll look back in a minute. So we're going to find ourselves in a similar situation as all of these except the last game. ByuN fighting for his life and Rogue fighting to end it. As Rogue has the economy, he has the upgrades, he has the production. But the Terran are... Oh, he doesn't have combat shield! Oh... The Marines. Without combat shield, he's one Bane hit away after a stim. I mean, if you have enough healing, maybe not, but... that combat shield is very important. It wasn't finished up yet. So ByuN, once again, gonna retreat back. I think Rogue's done. Like, his first game was Mutas. He's like, Mutas are fun. Let's try Mutas. And now he's like, no. Lurkers. Lurkers. He's not flirting with Mutas. He's not beating around the bush here with Zerglings. He's not even hinting at Ultralists. He's going straight to Lurkers with a 4-base economy and plenty of units on the map to deny ByuN. ByuN is going to have to pull some of the best micro of his career in order to just hold, let alone deal with this. So, let's set the scene and now see if he can live up to the hype. The Widow Mines do okay. Yeah, he is forced to pick up into the medevacs, and he didn't fill them up either. More racks on the way. I think we have an octo-rack situation here. Actually walling off with barracks. Looking to land the 4th. Of course, Rogue has Burrow. Rogue chilling at he's actually at only 350 average APM, which is the same as ByuN. I point that out because that's what Rogue is. This is low APM challenge for Rogue. For a player of this caliber, that's the low APM challenge. It's under 400. Especially building this many Zerglings? Oh my. Like, I don't even know how. His efficiency is so high. Well, that depot was open. I don't know. Well, ByuN attempted to wall off. This is a massacre. Rogue overruns everything before the hive is even done. The engineering bays are vulnerable in what should be the least vulnerable part of the base. He burrows Lings. The Ghost Academy is built, but Rogue continues across the map. At the end, Rogue was slightly more on the APM. I need to figure out what the hotkey is for EPM, because I actually forgot it. Shift C. Wait, what? But it doesn't work. I screwed it up. I need to know. Okay, Control V works. Well, the summary is Rogue just let ByuN walk into his Banes. That's just at the end of the game. And ByuN, after that last game, it was looking so good. some whiplash there, to be honest. He was really playing fast and loose the game before. That might have been the problem. Like, he was getting away with things you usually wouldn't get away with because of how the game started out. But that in a more standard macro game, Rogue just slaps him away. I don't know, Rogue's not even playing like that abusive style, really. This is about as cookie cutter standard as you can get. I guess the Muta game was the one that was a little off, but he's gotten closer and closer to what essentially the playbook is for Zerg, which is grab 4 hatcheries as quick as you can while still being safe, usually with queens and all that. Try to get 80 drones or so, and then as soon as you're safe and have enough production, get hive and lurkers. Like, sometimes this means focusing on counterattacks, sometimes this means dealing with early aggression, but essentially angling towards quick hive with lurkers while still making sure you have map control. Rogue kind of just wrote a textbook on that last game there. Especially since ByuN gave him the opportunity with the Banshees and the medevac. Is this a reactor first? ByuN. ByuN, like, we haven't tried this one yet. Though, you know what the one thing we haven't really seen this game is? Is a 1 Rax into gas with a Reaper. Last game was a gas first. Then it was a proxy Rax. And then it was 2 command center first. And now game 5 is a reactor first. Why won't you just play normal? There is no normal for ByuN. Blessing and a curse. Rogue with a 3rd hatch. Blackburn is a rough map for Zerg. The longer that... This is the one map... Well, we've seen Rogue use the bludgeon strat. I believe it was against ByuN, actually. On this map, not long ago, where he lost somewhere like 1,500 Zerglings and Banelings, in which we discovered that our custom observer overlay does not do 4 digits because the font size is too large. This is a rare issue. But one of the digits gets cut off. Yeah. Well, we'll see if we get there. I just want to put that one out. What is this? Why do you have 4 Marines? What are you doing? What? It's one of those, like, Wings of Liberty, I'm gonna make them make units builds. Except that doesn't work anymore, because queens. Zergs just have 2 or 3 queens, so you can't just pretend like you're gonna attack, because the queens will kill them on their own. Maybe you'll get an Ovi. The Ovi would be a win. That's the best thing. Okay, he gets an Ovi. Alright, that's a win. Get out of here. Before speed finishes ByuN, what are you doing out here? Medevac now. Alright, he's got Hellvac. Sounds like a new brand. Try Hellvac today. It's not as good as your vacuum, but it does. It's so hot right now. Okay, stop talking. Marine drop plus Hellion run by. Alright. With Armory and Banshee Cloak follow-up. Today's special. Rogue supply blocked by another Overlord dying to a awkward marine drop timing. The Hellions were nowhere close to take advantage of it. It looks like he's waiting to get Hellbats. The Queen's ready to body block out. These Marines do not have stim, so they can't really fight the Lynx. I've talked enough about Hellbats, but that keeps coming up. He's going to bring everything together into a single consolidated push. And Rogue does not have a Baneling nest. So there is an opportunity here. Between the supply blocks awkwardly hitting Rogue and the lack of a Baneling nest, there is definitely a chance of doing actual damage with Hellbats here. Okay? I will say it. He's put a lot of work in setting up this push. He's going to try to wrap around the back because Hellbats only fire forward, puns intended. He's just kind of grinding through the Queens with the Marines behind. The lack of Banelings is really hurting here. The Queens are not enough. He's burning through them, and that's enough. A Hellbat push doesn't. He really ran him. Once again, ByuN finds that timing. Rogue forgot the he either forgot or decided he didn't need it. Well, because it is weird. Like, why would you go Medevac Marines and then Hellbats? But ByuN, the improvisational master, I'm not even convinced that he wanted to go Hellbats at the start there, all right? I'm not 100%. But he eventually ended up there. He's like, this is it. This is the one. This is what we're doing. So, you know what? There you go. He pulled the Hellbat card out when it was least expected. What a play. All right, so that was a Terran map. Blackburn, quite a Terran map. I don't think Rogue is going to be too broken up about it. Of course, in SC2, when you say a map is favored towards a certain race, you don't mean they win 2 out of 3 games. You mean they win, like, 53 out of 100. It's usually less than a 5, or even... It's definitely less than 10, but usually less than a 5% swing. Though, one of the most stark differences is this map. Pride of Eltaris. The sheer size. It shows off the multiple cliff levels we can have now in SC2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 different levels. There's gold base. Is he going to go for the gold, or is he looking for proxy racks? The map is pretty huge. There's a lot of counterattack paths. Another important point, this is a full gold. Most gold bases have like 6 mineral patches to balance out the fact you can mine them faster. This actually just has more minerals, and you can mine them faster. Now, that can benefit Terrans as well, but it is out in the middle of the map on the open field, so that does not make it easy to hold, even if you do focus on defending the koi pond over here or whatever. Wow, it's beautiful. Water features! This is my favorite water map in any RTS. Well, I get maybe 2,000 atmospheres. ByuN does not proxy Rex. He starts with, like, why won't you just play... Wait, was this CC first again? Yeah. Yeah, CC first into double gas. Here on Pride of Eltaris, not surprised to see it. The one thing we will not get in this series is, like, a Reaper first into Hellions. At least not with some other detail being completely different than what you expect. Meanwhile, Rogue, I don't think we'll skip the Baneling Nest ever again. Honestly, a bit of an embarrassing loss. Why? He had the money and the time to build a Baneling Nest. It's not that expensive. I know I criticized a little for building a Baneling Nest on Curious Minds. I think he didn't want to replicate that by overcommitting to his tech. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna be at risk of not having banelings again. All right, what's it gonna be, ByuN? We still battle cruiser is still on the table. The battle cruiser, I mean, I think you gotta pull that in a best of 9. Come on, you gotta do one battle cruiser build. Come on. It's almost offensive that you wouldn't consider it, ByuN. I'll let this one slide. It's not over yet. We have at least 2 more games, but I want to see it. All right, I need at least 1, and then I'll be happy. We've gone 5 games now without seeing a single ghost. We've seen several ghost academies, but no ghosts. Maybe they're just well cloaked. No, every game has ended with ByuN leaning on the Marines, the mines, and the medevacs, and Rogue either crumbling or dealing with it. Very mid-game focused, which is relatively rare for this matchup nowadays. It's by no means, like, unseen, but at least a third of games usually make it to that lurker versus ghost stage. Ooh, a lair first. And by lair first, I mean before double Evo chamber, which makes it unique in terms of build so far. He's got a Roach Warren on the way. And 2 more gases, so it's going to be 4 gas. Is he going mass Roach? I mean, the Roach Warren could just be the stand-in for defense. We'll have to see with the upgrades. Yeah, this is something a little different. 6 gases now. Could just be a huge Ravager break. I'm interested to see, because no Baneling. You would go Baneling Nest if you were going Ling Bane. There's no question in my mind about that. This is what Rogue has won tournaments off of, is just whipping out the Roach timings and slamming them in for a win. Roach speed on the way, +1 Carapace. And not +1 ranged attack. Not yet, at least. The main weakness of roaches is that 200 supply of roaches does not beat 200 supply of almost anything else. The main strength of roaches is you get 200 supply of roaches well before most races or builds get 200 supply of anything else. So the summary is, a whole lot of them way quicker than your opponent can prepare. Yeah, +1 ranged attack on the way. Still no Bane Nest. I don't know if this has been revealed to ByuN yet. Right now, Rogue has only shown Zerglings out on the field. I almost feel like he's intentionally showing this. That might be a bit much, but he is hiding the roaches. Yeah, he keeps the Hellions. Oh my god, he's doing such a good job of hiding this. He's sending trickles of Zerglings in ways, but it's spotted. He sees it. And when the Viking spots them, Rogue pulls back. He was relying that much on the element of surprise? Yeah, he decides he's just going to take a more direct path instead, now that this has been revealed. Wow, he was really trying to hide this. ByuN, you have to respect the Ravagers. Especially, well, he's got +1/+1. He's got a lot of Marines. He's got several tanks. Building a second factory as well. So it isn't, he's not unprepared. Having the tanks, like if he had gone Widow Mines, no, put those down. Put those things down right now. Put them down. ByuN can't help himself sometimes. Oh my god, he doesn't even unload all the Marines. That is just so many Roaches and Ravagers. I think the boys need to be pulled. I think the boys already needed to be pulled. The Vikings coming back. The Marines trying to stand their ground. Body blocking for the tanks. The tanks happen. Oh, but the corrosive vials break the backs of the Marines. And Rogue pounds his way through. If those Marines, if that half dozen Marines were not still in the medevacs, ByuN, maybe he could have held the line. But Rogue takes any small gap in the armor and just pounds through it. The hammer drops, 27 SCVs with it. The corrosive biles forcing micro or just killing units outright. And ByuN cannot hold. A changeling provided vision. No, the damage has been done. He drops mules. The medevacs are out of energy. The reinforcements off of 3 bases too much. ByuN, sometimes you just gotta chill. That fight or flight instinct that ByuN has. He always has to be doing one or the other. And in this case, the flight really hurt the fight. And Rogue does not give you that second to unload. And I truly think that did make the difference. Well, that's match point in this AlphaX Super Series. ByuN only has to win 3 in a row against Rogue, who now has everything on the table. But the next map is Hardwire. Of all the maps for Terran, well, Blackburn and Hardwire are your Terran maps. Just, you can lock it down, choke points, ramps, easy to take bases. Those are your best options. So, a comeback can start here. Though, what does bode less well is that the games ByuN has won have felt like he snuck them away from Rogue as opposed to outplayed him. I mean, they were great plays, but they're all builds that probably aren't going to work twice. Rogue, on the other hand, he could pull out even the Roach timing again. Still dangerous. It's dangerous in the same way running into a brick wall is dangerous. Like, there's only so much preparation you can put in if you're heading towards the wall, except the wall is slowly moving towards you at the speed of roaches. Like, if you know it's coming several minutes out, then you can prepare. You can really stagger those defenses. You can add tanks. You can make sure those Marines are at home. But if you only have a few seconds, in that case ByuN only had a handful of seconds, you just gotta brace for impact. Oh my god, is this a standard? On match point, ByuN breaks out the standard Reaper expand. He's like, all right. Now, I guess. This is... And on match point, Rogue goes pool first, but defensively. I didn't even notice that. I was too busy. I was still in last game. The SCV spotted the hatch timing, and he knows. That's why the Reaper's doing this. The Reaper knows that there could be Zerglings on the map, and there are, but they're hiding in the main. He did not reveal it. Now, thankfully for ByuN, he did SCV scout. Otherwise, he could be in the awkward position of the Reaper halfway across the map, and Zerglings delaying his command center. This has been as... I mean, I can't pat myself on the back too much, though I'll take every opportunity. As I predicted at the start, Rogue, a strong player, and ByuN, an exciting one. Unfortunately, it appears might equals right here. Rogue with his increasingly simplistic but effective plays. Just bludgeoning ByuN. While ByuN... It's not over. I'm just very hard-pressed to see 3 in a row. I'd love to see it. Starts here. I hope you guys are enjoying this best of 9. By the way, what do you think? Is it too much? I can't keep track. There's too much StarCraft. I haven't even played a game of StarCraft in 5 years, and these guys are playing half a dozen? Oh, no. Okay, like... I'm a completely unbiased caster, and with that, what I'm trying to say is Hellbats are terrible. Why? I mean... It is a Hellbat Marine push. The Hellbats worked before with the Marines. There wasn't a baneling nest. This is a little bit of a different timing. It's quite quick, though. The baneling nest starts. There's not that many queens. There's potential. And here come the Hellbats. This is about as quick as it gets. 4.5 minutes. Alright. Well, the queens got quite a concave. Oh my. The Zerglings will force the Hellbats back. The target fire looking pretty good here. Trying to burn through the queens. Hold the line. A few pull back. Another Hellion coming up, but more queens will pop out. And the Hellbats will waddle away. So, what is the end result? Oh my god, that creeped too much. So, it didn't get crushed, but very little progress was gained in this attack. And the key point here is Rogue is sitting on 3 bases. ByuN just started his 3rd command center and his 2nd and 3rd racks. So, while ByuN doesn't lose his map control, this does delay the rest of your production significantly. Double NG bays on the way, double Evo chamber now. There are a few Marines to hold the wall, but the Lings are hitting every depot here. The boys have to be pulled, and a mule as well, a bit of a panic. The Hellbats on the other side, the Queen's trying to hold, pull it back. A few of them getting charbroiled here. I won't stop with that now. The Hellbats, well, he does lose most of them. The medevac could be targeted. The Lings got into the natural. The Lings are going to kill more SCVs than every single one of these Hellbats. Okay, well, the Queens hold the line. Every Hellbat is killed. 8 SCVs go down. This is a total disaster. They broke through the depots. There was nothing at home to defend because the production was delayed so much by the Hellbat push. And now ByuN is down 45 to 69 workers with no other advantages. Rogue is going to try to capitalize on all this with Mutas. I think that's a smart choice, actually. It's not even like a stylistic or a fun choice. When you know they have very limited... one, they haven't even taken their 3rd, and 2, they don't have very many Marines. You can just keep them pinned in their base with those Mutalisks. This is the ideal use case in a macro game for the Mutas, which is grabbing map control and never letting it go. That is the downside of Ling Bane, is you can't kill medevacs, right? So you no longer have that issue. Macro hatch, 4th, 5th. Another factory? Does he suspect roaches? I mean, mines are good. Ah, yes. Good job. Worship me! We defended the Hellbats, and we'll defend you again! The silly Terrans and their outdated builds. What do you mean? You're older than Hellbats. Shut up! Baneling speed finishes at the perfect time. ByuN doesn't have nearly enough to make a dent. 12 mutas. Creep is already reaching across the map. And here we are again. As we've been every game that went to 3 bases. ByuN gonna have to somehow hold and even try to get damage. While Rogue has everything he could ever want. And more of it. The mutas were spotted. The Spire was spotted by a scan. The turret is too late, but the Marines are not. There's no turret at the 3rd. And now, the pain begins. It doesn't end with the mutas. Everywhere the Marines aren't, or if they're on their own, here come the Lings and Banes. ByuN has not much time before the constant waves of attack. Drilling Claws is on the way. Thor is on the way. That second factory gonna come in clutch, assuming the tech lab stays intact. 4th base is taken. ByuN managed to find a 4th command center here. Rogue is now maxed out. And by that I mean 190 supply. He could be maxed out. He's got 82 drones. He's got an infestation pit on the way, not bothering on layer tech for long. Oh my. Well, those Widow Mines are gonna have to make all of the difference and then some. Huge hits to open things up. 26 kills, but the Marines struggling to hold their ground. The mutas are just targeting the planetary. It looks like ByuN will hold. The Banelings just roll in. The Thor plus Marines will hold the line for now. That was about as good as it could ever go for ByuN. Between the Zergling count being decimated by a Widow Mine, the planetary holding, and only Marines really dying, I mean, that's about as good as it's gonna get. Gonna have to maneuver the Thor like it's a particularly oversized turret, which is pretty much what it is, so... Rogue, that was just the warm-up round. Ring the bell, Jimmy. Here comes round 1. This is when Rogue knows what he's dealing with, and he knows what he wants. The mutas are going to open things up. I'm surprised Rogue isn't on his way across the map. He's got no Hydrodon, which means he's not going to rush lurkers behind this. It's probably going to be an Ultra Cavern. I think Rogue's enjoying himself. You know what? I take it back. Rogue is 41 Banelings ahead right now. Rogue with the bludgeon. And an Ultra Cavern. Well, has to rebuild the turrets. The positioning is incredibly tough to deal with these mutas. You gotta be careful with the Thors. Puts them on the little ledge there. Meanwhile, Widow Mine connects. That's a lot of Banelings, but enough Marines to stall them out for now. The mutas, the flock, continues to demand respect. Well, Rogue, this isn't even all my Banes, bro. 59 Banelings, only 11 Zerglings. Wait, was that a burrowed Bane? Does he have burrow? Of course he does. Rolling in. 4 Thors. And so many mines ago, a Terran stood tall against the mutas and Langs. Said, ghosts are not needed here, I'll cancel them. And Blizzard said, good idea. And it was good. And then Ultras popped out, and they realized they may have made a huge mistake. Well, here come the Banelings. Another round. Widow Mine's gonna burrow, but I don't even know what they could hit at this stage. The Thors are evacuated, abandoning everything else. Rogue just chops off the attack at the knees. The Thors tuck theirs into the medevacs and fall back yet again. What is the end goal here, ByuN? Another mine. Oh my god. 21 kills. There's a Baneling mine! Usually a little harder to use than those Widow mines. The scans are there. He's already revealed the mines a few times. The muta count is still high enough. 16 mutas, that perfect number between 15 and 20. Enough to easily kill turrets and individual units, but not enough that you're liable in terms of supply. The Ultras are revealed. Where's the Ghost Academy, ByuN? Where is the Ghost Academy? Come on, you know better than that. We know you know better than that. He knew, but unfortunately the depots were raised after the Zerglings were already in. And that kind of sums up so much of this series so far. Though, ByuN is maxed with 30 less workers, which is actually kind of a good thing right now, because Rogue might not be able to bring enough units to bear before the ghosts are out. Oh, those aren't Banelings. Those are Scouterlings. Oh. ByuN actually... Oh, like... I've been talking like Rogue is a shoo-in here, but... It's on the other foot now. Ghosts on this map, this is the map for Ghost Turtling. This is it. If you're ever going to, well, the Widow Mines negated here. They need to connect on the Ultras. They do, and they hit the Banes as well. Perfect connections. The Marines, yeah, some of them gonna go down, but the Ultras melt. The diet upgrade not researched nor existing. The mutas in the main still come back in, and Widow Mines, there are overseers. The repair is a bit optimistic from the SCVs. Ghosts are out. Where are the snipes? The ghosts have been revealed, but I mean, obviously. I bet Rogue has been wondering when they would show up, as opposed to wondering if. Because this is what endgame TVZ looks like. Whether or not the Zerg can batter their way through the Terran before the ghosts get too spooky. Or something like that. ByuN picks up, and he goes somewhere else with 3 medevacs of units. Another Widow Mine. Gonna get itself killed by hitting the Banes, but still chops off some of them. Baneling Mines. The ghost count is growing. This is actually quite an awkward fight. A very clunky unit composition ByuN has for himself here. He doesn't quite have the ghosts in position. He does snipe through. More LCVs gonna go down. The medevac... The planetary lives! And meanwhile, ByuN getting damage done on the other side. A lot of Rogue's army is in production right now. It hasn't yet been delivered. The Widow Mine dragged onto the Marines, so that way the medevacs are not enough to hold the line. The Ultras will chop through the rest. He sacrifices a muta for the greater good. Rogue still fighting that war of attrition. He has everything on his side of the map. The income, yikes. Invest today. It's dipping. No, that's not what that means. 52 Banelings, literally trapping Ultras in. He has so many Banelings. 52 more. How many ghosts on the field? An unlucky 13. Creeping all over the orbitals. There are a finite amount of minerals on the map here. Oh god, if a Baneling mine kills ghosts. Ghosts are not light units, so they don't take extra damage, despite their look. Widow Mine actually deals with it well enough. The ghost will clean the rest up, though. The ghost count is now at danger levels. We're not quite in the snipe zone, but we're getting there. The Widow Mines are very necessary, ByuN. Meanwhile, planetary, vulnerable, ghosts retreating, Banelings closing the distance, snipes over the top. The Banelings aren't actually in front. The Ultras are still chopping. They still have a little bit of HP. Oh my god, guys, don't, I have no idea what happened. Meanwhile, one Ultra will deny this base. The planetary slam. There's like 7 more command centers where that came from. It's not over yet. I mean, an entire backbone of spine crawlers on the high ground, but that won't stop many of these units for... Oh my god, please. Rogue, you know Rogue's staring at it. Rogue, who has less APM than ByuN still. The efficiency from Rogue is just insane. He works smarter, not harder. Yeah, ByuN at nearly 400, Rogue under 400. So rare for a Zerg. He knows exactly what to do. The Banelings. A bunch of changelings. They won't be stopped. The scan sees a dangerous army. You know what we're not seeing? Lurkers or Broodlords. Rogue is still... Like, look at the bank. He has yet to... Oh my god, it's 47 more Banelings. He's gonna be... Wait, is that 69 Banelings, you sly dog? No, it's so close! It's 68. Slightly miscalculated. Meanwhile, Widowmine's doing their best, but there's still dozens more where that came from. He's rolling through everything, retreating behind the command centers. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. The Ultras. The snipes on the retreating end of the army, and once again, ByuN holds. And once again, at what cost? Oh, yeah, it's pretty expensive, actually, for Rogue. Well, I mean, at some point, he runs out of gas. That point is still pretty far away. He's got several hundred more Banelings before he runs out. Don't worry. He's mined 16.7 thousand, and he's only lost 10k of it. Though Banelings are a little fuzzy because they don't show up on units lost. So, hey guys, what do we do? We're killing the hatch? What, have we tried diplomacy? Has anyone tried talking to the Zerg? No? Okay, I see. Like, here comes some more Banelings. Traffic jam. The command centers will lift. Is it too late or is it just in time? The Banelings rolling through. Ultras chopping at the front. The Ghost will cloak, but will that save them? ByuN blasted down to 100 supply. Will clean up the Ultras. The SCVs, the third base is gutted and destroyed. Ripped to shreds, I say, from the Zerglings. Orbital's bewildered. Trying to figure out where to land. Rogue. Another round. I told you we were just getting started. Jimmy? Will this be the one? ByuN is down to 110 supply. The ghost count at 11, which is lower than it was. He's lost 18. Make that however many that was. A single Liberator shows up. The ghost dying dramatically, and so is ByuN. Rogue closes it out. Rogue unleashes. He was building Corruptors at the end, kind of like a get out of my game move. No Vipers, no Lurkers, no Broodlords. Lisks and Lings. Until the end. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. I don't know how many Banelings actually attacked instead of were lost. But Rogue just overwhelms ByuN, and the score reflects it. Rogue takes it. 5 games to 2. And it really did feel like it. I hope you enjoyed my commentary. This AlphaX Pro series, make sure to check them out. They do have a Discord and a Patreon if you want the replays, and then you can cast them, hopefully worse than me. But Rogue was the better player today. ByuN, always a lot of fun, but not this time. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. I hope you enjoyed. What do you think? Will ByuN ever learn, or will the Hellbats eventually become the build? Thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.